I more realistically listen to someone talking about a book from, some theorist or from a long time ago in Europe, or maybe the American Civil Rights Movement or something like that. And they came up with the same thing that I figured out. Right. And obviously they beat me to it by a lot. And one of those, you can frame that piece of knowledge in two ways, right? You can frame that piece of knowledge as the lived experience of an organizer, or you can frame that piece of knowledge as theory, right? Theoretical knowledge. And there are people who have different amounts of each, right? People who have lived in the world as a person of color will come to understand racism and white supremacy. And people who have read all the books will come to understand theory. But a lot of the knowledge is the same, and I think that we can work to overcome the idea that one's superior. And a lot of people will make the assumption that if they know something, the reason that they know it is superior, right? I've read this, therefore I have an opinion on this and my opinion's right. Or I have this lived experience, therefore my opinion's right. And it's all knowledge. And I think that, Sebastian, like you were talking about, getting rid of some of the hierarchy that exists in organizing, sharing a strategy, knowledge, goals, all of that, and creating the more coalition-like approach that Lizette, you were talking about as one block, one movement. I would love to see that going forward.
Yeah.
Well, it's the top of the hour here, so we're going to take some time and pitch about our continuing pledge drive. But before that, Sebastian and Lizette, I want to thank you so much for coming on and talking with Chris, but with me as well, and sharing your experiences as organizers, talking about what you've learned, what you want to see going forward. I really appreciate it. This is KSQD 90.7 FM, KSQT 89.5, 89.7. Anyone feeling inspired to pitch in and give some money to help us keep the lights on can do so by visiting ksqd.org or giving us a call at 831-900-5773. Chris Crone is still here. Chris, do you want to add anything in about this pledge drive?
Well, first I want to thank you, Bodhi Shargil and Lizette Jones and Sebastian Valdez. All of you did a tremendous job, and you very topical. Very, very, very. It's what we need to be talking about. Several of the issues that you brought up, and that's what community radio does. It presents stuff, and it's a work in progress. That not only the station is, but also some of the topics that we have and present to you, the audience, every day, every week. And right now we are in the midst of our spring pledge drive. And I just wanted to ask Adrian Sasso, somebody who's been a consistent volunteer for this station for probably, 2, 3, 4 years? I don't know.
Coming up on 3 years now at this point.
So what gets you to want to do that, to want to volunteer at KSQD Radio week in and week out?
I think I was just talking about this with someone the other day, is I get to come in here and I get to talk with people in my community. I love doing Bodhi's show. I love doing your show before that because the two of you were very much involved with the politics, the local politics of Santa Cruz. And the two of you are quite formidable in your breadth of knowledge and the way that you present it. And it was just really interesting to not only hear your opinions, but to be able to talk with some of the people that we've had on here. So many times we've had key figures that were running for city council, running for other elected positions around Santa Cruz County, supervisors. We had people representing both sides of the Greenway rail and trail, that whole debate. It was, there's a lot of people with a lot of decision-making power that are coming on here, and we are talking with them and having straightforward, earnest conversations with them. And I feel like that is really valuable. And, it really is the highlight of my week when I get to come in.
If you want to keep this going and you want to hear more of these, not only holding public officials accountable, but the kind of show we just heard where students get involved and put out their opinions as well, and react to things that are going on in the community, which I think we need more of a dialogue along those terms. And so if you feel good about those topics, I urge you, my name is Chris Crone, and I would love it if you could get on your computer right now or your smartphone and do the smart thing. And that would be to go to ksqd.org, and make a contribution to this radio station. We're not NPR. We don't have I looked up the budget of NPR today. It was close to $500 million. And we don't have that kind of money, but that's not what makes this station run. And we are an alternative, and we want to continue being an alternative, but we need to keep the lights on. So if you can make your way to making a donation, 831-900-5773, 831-900-5773. That's the old-fashioned way. Give us a call. Or the new fangled way, I guess you might say, is going to your computer or your other device and going to ksqd.org. I got a 10-second story here that I wanted to share with you. I'll tell you my recent experience. I was up against the White House press office. And I was trying to make the case why KSQD should have a seat at the table at each convention, the Democratic National Convention and the Republican National Convention. They'll be happening in July and August of this summer. And I was first told, no non-commercial radio stations are given press passes. And I said, what, NPR won't be working the conventions this year? Oh, no, that's not what he meant. He was really sorry but the community radio station passes aren't offered. Well, I said that KSQD covers similar but also different story angles that NPR does, and I appealed to this individual's decision to his board at the White House press office. And there was a letter from me and a letter from the program director here at KSQD Radio, and because it's important for us to cover, from a local angle, the conventions. We're going to have, lo and behold, we're going to have 2 press passes at the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention this summer. And we'll be giving you local perspectives from those places, Chicago and Milwaukee. And how does that affect? How do the conventions affect? How do the parties affect Santa Cruz and Santa Cruz politics? Anyway, that's just you will be hearing more about this as we get into the summer. This is KSQD 90.7 and KSQD.org. We're also in Prunedale now, which is KSQT Prunedale. Wow. And we're 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM. So if you want to give us a donation and keep this place going, please do so. We have a $300 match right now. It's from an anonymous person, $300. So if you throw in $20, we'll get 40. If you throw in 100, we'll get 200. This person very generously donated $300 to match. It's a matching grant. So double your money. And I'm going to put it over to our incomparable computer guy right now, Luigi Opido.
Chris Crone, my friend. That was a great Chris Crone speaking, everybody. Hello, everybody. Speaking on KSQD and KSQD 90.7 FM, 89.5 and 89.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org. Chris, it's so great to see you, man.
Oh, Luigi, it's so good to see you behind that board, and your fingers are so, just amazing the way you just stream them over that all those knobs and things.
Yeah, I'm dancing. Not as good as Sandy. Our most important person here at this station. But I feel exactly what you're. The fact that you got those seats, that's amazing, dude. That's amazing. Congratulations.
I was impressed, but it took a little bit.
That is going to be something huge. Only you will be able to hear here on KSQD and KSQD.org. That's incredible. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to be staying tuned, and we're going to have it. And that the only way that you could hear something like that is having a local radio station, somebody like Chris, going out, pounding the pavement, and actually hitting the streets and making this happen for you, for our local community station. He's not beholden to anybody. He's beholden to you, because we are not beholden to anybody here at the station. We are not a corporate-based radio station. We are a volunteer-based radio station. But as I always say on my show, I cannot volunteer the electron soup to the board to power everything up, to pay PG&E, to make sure that we can get everything actually working. That's where you come in. And you can jump online to ksqd.org, hit our little beautiful candy-like red donate button up there, give during our pledge drive, which gives the 3% away, so we get the full 100% from the PayPal giving fund, and all your dollars go straight to it. And like Chris said, we have a matching pledge right now. If you give $1, it turns into 2, 5 turns into 10, 20 turns into 40, or 100 turns into 200 with that anonymous pledge. So right now is the time to give at 831-900-5773, or jump online at ksqd.org, where you can do it in your pajamas and be chill about it. Yeah, it's good.
It's amazing what's happened at this station.
Yes.
There's literally been hundreds of people who have volunteered and gotten involved in radio as a result of this community station right here, and it has expanded a bit too. As I said, we're out in Prunedale. We have a transmitter now too, and of course the ksqd.org and the KSQD 90.7 in your car. That's usually when I listen to this station. And when you're in the car, it's like serendipitous. You don't know what's going to come on. You just like try it. And I've been able to learn so much about, the shows that are here, the Kitchen Sisters, the Computer Guy. There is jazz and opera,
salsa and great news talks about anything and everything around our community. There's something for everybody, and it's online under our listening tab. If you ever want to jump on and you miss something, you can jump onto our website and take a look at it from there too.
Takes 2 minutes to donate.
Yeah.
You go to the ksqd.org on your server or your whatever you open your browser, and it's painless, and it really helps this station.
Yeah, it helps us know what's coming through, and make it reoccurring. That way we kind of know what's coming in every month. It helps us out a little bit, and give your fair share. What do you feel that community radio is worth to you? What is it worth to have Chris fight tooth and nail to get a seat at the Republican committee for a local Santa Cruz radio station? That is amazing. What's that worth to you? Jump online, ksqd.org. While you're on there, while you're giving your donation, there's a little spot for you to tell us what you love about the station, what you like, what you think about the shows that are coming on, and what your favorite show is. So we'd
it's
really
not really a seat, so I'm not going to be in the. It's a press.
He
pass.
Is running for president. Yes. Everyone, he is running for president, and Chris Crone.
It's a press pass to get into the Republican convention to cover it. And find out what the stories there. There's a bunch of stories that are going to affect Santa Cruz, and we're going to have those up for you in July. And in August, we're going to be doing the Democratic convention.
That's incredible, dude. That's awesome. I'm so stoked. I can't wait to hear about it. I can't wait to, from our perspective too, from our own lens through you. That's great. So cool. I wanted to just mention, since you're sitting here, the stories you were giving us this over the last year from your walking trips and the interviews. Oh, dude, I got the privilege of being in the studio before we would play some of them before my show, so I come in a little bit early to listen as much as I could. Dude, they were magical. You could just cleose your eyes. You could hear the footsteps. You could hear the people walking by you, and then you stop and talk to somebody. It was really cool. I am a person of technology. I have video and VR and all these things like that. But to hear you on the radio do that stuff, it was a trip, man. I really enjoyed it.
Did the rain come through? There's a lot
Dude,
of rain.
It did. Oh, it was so cool. And you would listen. I had my headphones on here in the studio, and you just hear that, and it was like you were immersed. It was very cool. Very cool.
It was more rain than northern Spain has had in 100 years. It was quite amazing. Out of the 34 days I walked, 10 of the days were just saturated with
Is there
rain.
any way that anyone can listen to that currently right now, on air? Do you have them online, any type of SoundCloud or anything like that?
Yes, and I'm going to have to, figure out how to send people there. I don't have one right off the top of my head where I can send people, but I know one of our volunteers, Ronnie Lipschitz.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He puts them in a library, and
awesome.
And if give access to Ronnie's library, I think people have access to it. I don't know.
It's just something worth it. It was something really magical. And if it came back out again and it's like a reprise or something like that, or even a replay, it'd be worth it. It was just really cool. I really enjoyed it. Just whoa, he's out there doing that. And he's doing it for us, and it was very cool.
Yes,
very cool.
It's very cathartic. I don't push it on anybody, but if you're thinking about you need some time and you want to go walking, it's a 500-mile journey. You don't have to go that long either, but it's from France across northern Spain all the way to the western part of Spain. You could even end up in Finisterre, which the Romans used to call the end of the world.
Wow.
But let's not have the end of the world here in terms of our radio station. We need you to maybe get out your phone or your computer and go to ksqd.org and make a donation to keep this place running, to keep the lights on, to keep shows like The Computer Guy going with Luigi Opido and all the other folks who are on this station. I personally like a lot of the national stuff with Ralph Nader and Tom Hartman and Amy
Democracy
Goodman.
Now! Yeah, exactly.
Laura Flanders. Luigi, do you have a favorite show by any chance? One of the syndicated ones?
You know, I really, really enjoyed Democracy Now! In the morning. I think it resonates really well with me because Amy Goodman squeezes every last second out of every single show and every interview, and I feel that. Solidly. So, like, I love the way that she puts the show together and the incredible messages and how she does the entire show literally right after some entire event happens. She has an entire panel of things going on right there, like, as it's happening, and she's like, let's talk about it right now. I have an entire thing ready to go to talk about it. So she's amazing. I mean, besides, and then we also have the one that, with Rose Aguilar out of
Your Call.
Your Call. I really enjoy that show as well.
That's a great one.
We've got some great stuff here, as well as our local talent that walk through this station every day.
Yep.
It's a really magical place. This place has been, we're 5 years now here in this location. It's amazing what has become of KSQD and KSQD.org. Of course, and also with those other stations, 89.5 and 89.7, a little awesome bonus as well. When you used to drive north on Highway 1, 90.7 FM would kind of drop out. And now 89.5 and 89.7 stretch further north. So as I take my kid and go up as a nap, as we drive up past Davenport, etc., I can catch KSQD almost all the way north. It's very cool. So you can catch us all up and down the coast, and it's a great thing because you're going to find something on great almost any time you tune in, if not every time.
I'm sure your son enjoys that too.
She's very
excuse me.
yeah, that's good.
Daughter.
She loves it. We listen to a lot of things on the radio, and she's out.
Wow, I remember when she was born. Wow.
Yeah, she's gonna be 2 next month.
Wow.
May 17th. Hey, Penelope.
Hey,
so yeah.
If you go to KSQD schedule, just put that in your browser, you can see all the mix of shows that are currently on the radio station here. There's just a really healthy mix of local and syndicated shows, stuff that you're not going to hear on NPR. And for example, what Luigi was just saying about Amy Goodman, she's covering the Israel-Gaza war from a different perspective than you're going to get from a lot of mainstream people. Mm-hmm. She's going into 8 and 9 minute pieces where you're going to get 8 and 9 seconds headlines from a lot of the mainstream outlets. I'm not saying don't go to those mainstream outlets, because I think people need to balance their points of view, but places like KSQD, where you have an alternative radio source, it's going to give you a different view of the news. It's not, we're right and they're wrong, but I think that they're going to complement each other, and you're going to get a fuller picture of what's actually going on in the Middle East as well as in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, base your own conclusions based on different outlets, and especially having something that's local. I mean, we're your neighbors here. This is such a great place just to kind of come back home. Even if you leave the area, you can come to ksqd.org and listen to what's going on, down on the wharf or whatever is happening here. So, and we only can bring that to you because of you. So jump online to ksqd.org, and right now is the best time. We have that matching pledge, so your money is literally doubled. Whatever you give gets doubled by our amazing anonymous donor, and you can do it online securely and discreetly, and with and PayPal has been kind enough to wipe the 3%, so we get every dollar, every cent that you give with us right now here on ksqd.org. So you want to get started with the Computer Man Show? Do you want to hang out during? Are you going to be hanging out for a while? Cool. Well, okay. Well, for a little bit, let's
do one more pitch.
I'm going to lock the door as long as I can and keep Chris in here as long as I can.
Let me out, Luigi.
So we'll start right at the beginning here, and let's get it going here.
The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of Natural Bridges Media or KSQD's staff, volunteers, or underwriters.
I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters in After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to Macway. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Monterey, Central Coast, and beyond. My name is Luigi Opido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers, right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour or so, I am your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and, of course, supreme frustration. That's right, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters you have ever visited. I'd like to welcome you to your local radio station, of course, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org, also broadcasting at 89.5 and 89.7 FM, and on KSQT Prunedale. We are all over the place here, ladies and gentlemen. We're stoked to be here tonight on our pledge drive, but we're going to be talking about a couple things. I've got email questions and also a lot of scams going on, so we're going to talk some scams here real quick before we get back to some of the other pledges, and you can still call it 831-900-5773, and we'd love to hear from you tonight, whether it be questions, comments, concerns, or just give a pledge and then you can get on the air. How about that, huh? So one of the main things I wanted to talk about tonight in our kind of our limited show for this evening is a scam that's going around, and it's actually going around a lot of people here at the in the Bay Area, and it's actually a fast track scam. There was a scam that was going out that was actually being emailed from quote unquote, my radio air quotes, fast track, that was saying that basically it was a text message saying that some of your tolls are overdue, and there's a link to a fraudulent website where you can pay. Of course, you don't know it's fraudulent until you put in your name and your credit card number and all these other things, and then it fails out or something when you've actually already sent all your stuff away to them. So Fast Track first does not require or request payment by text ever. So that's one of the first things you're going to watch out for, and you're not going to have to deal with if you do have a Fast Track account. And also they say that if you have anything like that that's actually happening, make sure that you jump onto bayareafasttrack.org or Fast Track customer service at 877-BAY-TOLL. It's just something that's going around. It's an email or a text that's coming out, and it's not from Fast Track. So if you get something from that, the best thing you can do, just like any of these emails, don't click on the link, don't click on the service, don't go and take the email and then it'll take me to the place. It's much easier. Don't be lazy. Just take an extra 2 seconds, open up an extra tab, go to fasttrack.org or fasttrack Google search real quick, and go to your account and sign in and look. Remember the big giant yellow banner you see when things go wrong? Remember the notifications you get on your applications on your phone? That's the kind of thing we want to look for. And if you just get an email, I want that email backed up. An email is not good enough to tell you that something is wrong unless you actually go into the application, sign in with your credentials on a separate website, and then allow yourself to sign in and actually look. Then if you do that, you'll know for a fact that something is actually happening. I got some weird email from something, it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was this crazy phone number, but it was saying it was something for Santa Cruz that needed to be done. I'm like, that is not an 831 area code. What is this number? And I actually highlighted the number, did a Google search for that, saw it was some other firm, called them, and they were doing actually work for the city, but they were located in like New Jersey or something. So it was actually legitimate, but I didn't want to click on it because it looked like it was fake. So 2 seconds of Google searching, and I was able to actually call them and find out that they were real, and then that what was actually going on. So it's email is a cesspool. It's garbage. Just like you open up your mailbox, you can get anything in there. You can get an awesome letter, you can get a check from a friend, or you can get a bag of poop. It doesn't matter. It can fit in the mailbox. You'll get it. And with email, your mailbox is immense, so you can get anything in your email, including garbage. So just be careful when you're out there watching and looking for things, because you can get anything, and always back it up. Just back it up. And if you think something's coming through and you need to click on the link inside the email, hover over it, and on the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see where it's going, and make sure it matches. If it's saying it's a Fast Track thing, and if it doesn't go to Fast Track, don't click on it. If it's something from Yahoo and it doesn't go to Yahoo, don't click on it. If it's something from Amazon and it doesn't go to, that's right, Amazon, you got it. You're getting it, so don't do that. Okay, so yeah, I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page with that kind of stuff. Blah, gross. Let's see what else we've got going on in the real world. Anything else? This Apple thing. Oh, also there's this AT&T scam that's going on right now. One of the main things, a customer brought this in. I'm actually very proud of them. They're a listener to the show. They said that before they listened to the show, they would not have known this, and I might have saved them from this scam, which was pretty cool. It's nice. I love hearing that. But it says, hey, hello AT&T mail customer. We're writing to let you know that we're making a required system upgrade, and older versions will no longer accept logins. The updated policy will be published and take effect on 25th of April, 2024. So if you're not in computer speak, that whole 2 cents thing was nonsense. It was literally nonsense. What are they talking about? A required system upgrade, older versions of what? I'm signing into my email. Older versions, Bueller, what are we talking here? What is this? And so anyway, it's nonsense. It says the updated policy will be taken published. Blah, blah. All accounts not updated will stop processing incoming emails and PDF attachments permanently and will no longer accept logins after the due date. And that's what gets people freaked out. They forget, they don't even read the first part. They have a big update now button, and it came from, this is AT&T. This is AT&T sending a communication to you, the customer, and it came from angela.bolton@nottinghamcity.gov.u, the letter U, which is not not anything. It's not a real email address or anything. But then I looked at who it was sent to, and it was sent to att@email.com. What is that? And so all of this is fake. All of this is completely fabricated and garbage, and I have no idea where that update now button is going to take you. But again, they get you with something like this. They look at the calendar. They go, oh, you got 2 days. 2 days to figure out, or else you're going to just be deleted forever, and we're going to come to your house, and we're going to punch you in the face. Like, that's the fear. That's what you're like, I got to do something with this right now. And you don't. This is fake. The biggest thing you can do, again, not do anything. Open a new browser. Go to AT&T.com or call the AT&T phone number after you do a Google search for it, because I don't know what it is. And when you call them and just ask about your account, they'll say that this is fake. But clicking on the link can get you in a whole lot of trouble. And you're going, well, that's going to take me a long time to call AT&T. That's going to take a long time to do the Google search. It's going to take a lot longer to close down all your credit cards and to close down all your bank accounts and everything after you give away your information because you didn't know what you were typing your stuff into. So I'm telling you, this is the way to go. But again, look at where the email comes from. This lady, she was an older lady. She's not computer. She's by her own means. She says she's not very computer literate. I've said you were very computer literate because you printed out an email to me. That's pretty huge. A lot of people can't do that. That's pretty good. But she circled where the email was from, and I said, I am so proud of you because that is not AT&T. It's not AT&T at all, and you recognized it, and you stopped, and you came and asked. And there's no shame in asking. There's no shame in coming out and going, I'm not sure about this. Am I screwing myself by clicking on this button? And yes, she would have screwed herself if she would have clicked on the button. So she saved herself all that time. It's okay to ask. If you come to my shop, if you come to this radio station, if you come to my show, this is a safe place. And no question is too big or too small. This is very important. And this lady probably saved herself a lot of money. And then she told me later that she had been scammed earlier in the year. And now she doesn't do anything online. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay. So those are the scams I think I want to talk about tonight. Except for Google. Have you heard? Okay, Chris, have you heard about this? Google has to destroy $5 billion worth of user data that illegally collected in incognito mode. You know, incognito mode for Google Chrome?
Yes.
Yeah, so like
that's what I only go incognito.
Yeah, $5 billion worth of user data they have to delete because they were actually collecting it. Oh!
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked.
Gambling in here?
Yeah, I know, right? Did you hear just a couple other ones I heard about? Did you hear about the Amazon Prime, the tech stores, the ones you walk into the store and then you just pick stuff off the shelf and walk out and you don't have to pay for anything? Did you hear about those stores that opened?
I heard that.
Did you hear about how they got closed and why they were faked?
No, what
Did you hear about any of the fake stuff? So you, if those of you don't know out there, there was the Amazon came out with a store and you walk into the store and you sign in with your phone. It tells your account, and then you can literally grab anything off the shelf, put it into a normal basket, and then you walk out of the store with it. That's it. You walk out of the store, and when you do that, 5 or 6 hours later, you will get an itemized invoice with everything that you purchased in your Amazon cart, and you're good to go. And you don't have to. There's no swiping. There's no beep. There's no nothing.
How do they know?
It was advanced AI 6 years ago, and you go, wow, AI's. I thought AI only came out, ChatGPT's been around for like 9 years or so, but it sucked. It was terrible. And so ChatGPT was there, but there was no face recognition. This is this is like a special Chinese, technology that we don't know about or something like that. No, it was a front. It was a way for Amazon to say that they had advanced AI. They then went and hired 1,000 workers in India to watch their 250, 350 cameras. So every person that walked in got assigned 2 or 3 people in the Indian place and this workhouse, and then they would watch them on the cameras and watch what they would pick up, and then they would find it on Amazon, blah, 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 and find it in there and put it on the list. And then as you walk, they would walk out and they go, okay, I think they got all these items, and then it would take 5 or 6 hours for them to go through all the footage to double check that they had everything, and then to put it on the Amazon account and then show up. So it was a total shim sham. That's it. And it was all to sell the stockholders on the future of AI, the future of what their technology could do. But it was the same thing as Google Gemini did. Google Gemini was something that introverts would not be able to have to call a restaurant. You could set it up, say, I want a restaurant for 2 people at this restaurant at this time or this time or this time, and I want it at this restaurant and I want it, for this date. Go. And so the thing would ring, 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 ring. A human would answer, and the thing would go, "Hello, my name is this, that, and the other. I'd like a reservation for this time." And it was Google doing that. And they had 6 hours of footage of trying to do this one feature. of doing that, and then it never worked, and they cut and pasted it, so it made it look like into this one nice cohesive video that it made a phone call and hung up, and then they did put out a developers conference and sold it out. And so like it's it's all these little things. Like we're getting all this crazy tech right now, and it's a lot of it's really cool, but a lot of it is being touted and pushed because the buzzwords are there and people are understanding the buzzwords, and a lot of the things aren't doing what we're saying that they're doing. A lot of them is, but there's a lot of stuff kind of going on. You're like, is that really doing that? They really had a grocery store?
One thing I always get is Cruise.io mail. We are going to shut your mail out. It says, I'm looking at a message right now, just got it. We are closing all versions of our mail as of 4/24 or whatever, 2024. Please go to the link below. But how I always check it is I go up to the mail and I do the pull down.
The arrow.
And they're World Traveler at fidnet.com. And I go, what? That's not Cruise.io. So I've never gotten a Cruise.io message from Cruise.io.
Yes, exactly. The same thing with this one, like this AT&T one I have, it has that crazy email at the very top. That's not AT&T. A multi-billion-dollar company does not get all their emails sent out from Angela Brownstone at the Notting Hill City University or whatever.
I think PG&E does.
Yeah, there you go. Boy, that's the truth. Yeah, so it's So, with Google having to destroy this data, for those of you out there with incognito, without knowing what incognito mode is, it was literally a way that you would go sit down in like a library computer and you would be able to go onto the browser and go through things. And then when you close it out, it closes everything out, just takes all the cookies with it, and you don't have any record of you sitting down and looking at your weird stuff. And this is saying that Google's like, well, we were looking anyways, and we just saved it all. And now we've got to delete it because we were found out. But before that, so it says that they settled the lawsuit and agreed to delete billions in incognito mode records. Turns out even in private browsing mode, Google was snooping on all its users.
Yep.
Shocking.
Yes.
So, anyway, yeah. Oh, boy. But yeah.
Could you do that again?
Shocking.
I love it.
Okay, let's see what else we've got here. I've got a lot of email questions. Oh, actually, do I have any other? I have scams. Oh, I got so many scams all over the place. I just hate talking about scams. The whole show turns into scams. I actually was online the other day, and I was on Reddit, and this one guy was talking about how his iPhone blew up, saying that his iPhone stopped a what was it called? It's called a mercenary spyware attack. And I was like, on your iPhone? It's an iPhone? And I'm like, because iPhones are embedded devices. You can't really get any root access control. Every application is its own fortress. And then when you jump on as a third-party application, you're walking the roads in between these giant buildings with all these fortresses, and you're like, I can't really do much of anything with this because everything's walled off. But on an Android phone, you can get in your hoverboard and fly above everything and jump into the fortresses if you want. If you have the right stuff, you can hack into these things. So this person said that they had this rogue mercenary spyware attack thing. I was like, what the heck is that? And I started reading about it, and sure enough, Apple has a threat called the mercenary spyware attack. But evidently, it's a multi-million-dollar attack that takes all this crazy stuff to go through, and you have to be like some superhuman person of like stature, like a president or something like that, for even anyone to even consider attacking you. And then I went back online and found out that account was owned by some famous person, that it was some government official or something like that. But holy moly, the fact that this was it was a good and bad thing. One, the good thing is if you have an iPhone, it's still, as far as I know, virus proof. You can't get a virus on your iPhone, which is great. You can get a lot of viruses on your Mac, but you can't get any virus on your iPhone. And if someone did want to have a virus and put it on your iPhone, they would have to pay like over $1 million for the crazy attack, because it's incredibly expensive, and it's pretty serious too, evidently. So but it takes all this extra equipment, and it's like a covert like movie thing that would take like extra black boxes to like like the what are those things called? They weren't Pelican boxes. There's a box that they were using for a little while that police departments would deploy, and it would fake a cell phone tower. And then it would, and then your cell phone would connect to that box, which would then repeat back to the tower. So everything that you did was caught by the box. It was creepy, as many things are these years. So, so we're at the halfway point here at the Computer Man Show on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid, 89.7, 89.5, and 90.7 FM. We're going to take a quick break, listen to some amazing underwriters. Get that phone ready, 831-900-5773, or online at ksqd.org, and where we have that matching pledge, now is the time to do it. But we're going to go real quick on a quick break, and we will be right back.
Here's one that just...
Every Wednesday at 6 p.m. on KSQD 90.7 FM, you'll find me, Dr. Dawn Motika, ready to respond to your calls and emails on health and medical science topics and issues. We cover medical breakthroughs and medical breakdowns. As an expert in alternative and complementary medicine as well, I bring a lifetime of experience and compassion to our mutual dialogue. Please join the discussion Wednesday night at 6 p.m. on KSQD. Don't Google your symptoms. Ask Dr. Dawn.
KSQD thanks maca.us.com for underwriting this program. Ever wonder what happens to a MAGA hat if you remove the tail of the G? It becomes a MACA hat. Make America conscious already. Make American courts accountable. Make autos combust alcohol. Make America care, amigo. More information at maca.us.com. Remember, your vote counts. Thank you, maca.us.com, for supporting Community Radio K-Squid.
And welcome back here. This is the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale, 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org. We're in our pledge drive right now. I'm here with the illustrious, amazing Chris Crone. What's up, dude?
Hey,
it's great to see you, man.
Community radio is expanding. That's the good news.
Yes.
You know, over this past year, we've gotten a hold of two more stations. You can get the signal now up in Davenport. You can get it down toward Watsonville. We are expanding our listenership, but it's not without hope that you will continue to fund this radio station. You've been generous to us in the past, and we're hoping that you're going to be generous again. If you go to your browser right now and open KSQD, and then just put in the word donate, you'll go right to our site. It's ksqd.org, but you don't even have to remember that because the servers now are so powerful. You can even just say donate $25 KSQD, and it would take you right to our donate button. And we're asking you to do this. You can do it the old-fashioned way. Of course you can do it the old-fashioned way, and you can just give us a call. There are people standing by right now with the number 831-900-5773. 831-900-5773. KSQD. If you want to support community radio, you like what you hear. A lot of times I'm in my car and I'm just driving around and I turn it on. And it's like, wow, I hear something that I never hear before. You know, I love that kind of like mystical aspect, serendipitous aspect. I have some favorite shows, you know, which happen to be in the Night with Bobby Bishop, Border Free Radio with Len B.A., The Coast Ridge Rambling with Rachel Ann Goodman, The Kitchen Sisters with Nikki Silva, and of course, The Computer Man with Luigi Opido, right here, right now, for the next half hour. And if you want to know what our whole schedule is, you can go to KSQD schedule, and it'll come up. It'll pop up this amazing schedule with all these different shows. Guarantee that you don't have to like every show, but there's one or two or three or four or five that you might be attracted to. So if you could just think about digging a little deeper or digging into your pocket, or at least onto your computer screen. You don't have to claw it or anything, but you just press those buttons, KSQD donate, and you'll come to the KSQD donate button, and you can donate, or you can do it the old-fashioned way, like I said before. You can call us at 831-900-5773. Luigi, do you have besides The Computer Man, do you have a favorite or one? What show do you gravitate towards listening to on KSQD?
So there's a salsa show. I can never remember the name of it. It's so good. It's by with Pop Vivo, and it's so good. The music is so good. It's a little bit later, and so like you kind of get into it and you start dancing, and then it's like 11:30 at night, and you're like, okay, I'm like totally jazzed up now, and I got to go to bed. But there's some great music shows we have. Talk of the Bay, I really enjoy. I have learned more about our local politics and stuff through Talk of the Bay than I care to admit. And it's there's so many things going on, and it's cool to hear about, especially when we have like elections and stuff, and hearing about these people that come on and talk in our studio about local things that are going on that they're running for, and there they are. They're sitting right here. You can ask them questions, and you can call in, and people do, and it's
wow.
a great meeting place. And of course, I mean, the human beings that I've met through this station are incredible, and then their talent to create their shows. I mean, Bobby B, you've seen him for hours in the studio curating everything. So, I gotta make that transition. It's just gotta be just right. And if you listen, you hear it. And any of our shows, it's the love that comes through. So, I like Be in the Night. That's a good show. But yeah, there's a lot of great shows, and I go to the listening tab all the time and catch stuff I've missed all the time, because it's an easy way just to catch something right now. Even if you're not into what we're doing right now, you can catch something else on ksqd.org.
I listen a lot when I'm walking, when I'm cleaning the house, when I'm unloading the dishwasher. I just flick it on. ksqd.org.
Or ask your smart speaker. Does it the same way too. You can ask it to play KSQD and it'll play out through the house. Yeah,
so if you can put the community in community radio, and this place does not exist without you, the community.
That's right.
ksqd.org. Donate now.
That's right. And you can jump online to our website, do that securely through our PayPal giving fund. Or if you want to go super old school, you can mail us a check. Did you hear that? Mail us a check. Natural Bridges Media at P.O. Box 5551. That's in Santa Cruz, right here in California, 95063. That's
snail mail.
That's right. Natural Bridges Media, P.O. Box 5551, Santa Cruz, California, 95063. So we could do that. We can take the phone call here at 831-900-5773 or online, ksqd.org. Chris, it was an honor to see you tonight,
Luigi,
my friend. So good to see you, man.
Precious that you are continuing this in very consistent. You're a community-minded member, and I'm just going to put a plug in for Luigi. I got my computer all set up. One day I went to him, and a day later he gave it back to me, and everything was transferred, and I'm holding the computer right now, and this was like 2 years ago now.
Awesome.
And it's still running fantastically.
Yes. All right. Well, hopefully to see you not too soon, but I hope to see you soon.
Okay. Take care.
All right. You too, my friend. And that leaves lines open for you at 831-900-5773. Jump online, jump on the phone, make that phone call, make that pledge. Keep KSQD on the air. We love you out there for you, and we wouldn't be here any other way. I say it every week. Every week. KSQD and ksqd.org. Got a couple more underwriters here real quick. We're going to be sticking with those, and then we'll be right back with the Computer Man after these quick words.
Support for KSQD comes from the Monterey Bay Air Resources District. The Wood Stove Changeout Program now offers higher incentives for Santa Cruz, Monterey, and San Benito County residents to switch to cleaner home heating alternatives. Details at montereybaycleanair.org. That's montereybaycleanair.org. Thank you, MBARD, for supporting community radio K-Squid.
My name is Luigi Ovido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of The Computer Man Show, a 1-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on The Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bringing you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
If you're a listener, you know what I'm going to say next. That's right. If you love jazz, stick around. There's nothing better to let this computer nonsense ooze out of your ears than to have the smooth sounds of jazz melted away. That's right. With Bobby B and Be in the Night coming up, 7 to 10. Jazz coming up. Nothing better to soothe away your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, whatever day it is. Tuesday nights, and then with some jazz. Do it. Let's have it. So Bobby B, Be in the Night coming up at 7 o'clock, and we'll see you there. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Computer Man Show coming back at you at KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD Prunedale, and 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, as well as KSQD.org. Let's do some email questions. I've got a bunch of them. This packet's a little bit shorter than the last one. It's only like 9 pages long, but let's see what we got out here in the email world. All right. So this person, we're going to get into some graphics card stuff, a strange graphics card driver. So drivers, of course, we always talk about drivers. What does a driver do? When you plug in a card into a bus, you plug into a slot, like some PCI slot or a AGP slot or whatever slot you're doing, and you plug your card into it, voltages are applied based on the software that we have. And if the card gets plugged in, whether it's a video capture card, whether it's a networking card or a USB card or some type of laboratory catching card, whatever it could be, the computer doesn't know what to do with it. The computer has no idea. There's pins plugged in. I see connections on the pins. I see that there's voltage and grounds and stuff like that. I don't know how to apply the voltage to certain places in order to make certain things work. And then when those voltages are applied, that in the processor on the little board or the little, the chips gets powered up and outputs its output or inputs its input, and then it comes back out through the processor. How do I use that data? What is that data and where is it supposed to go to and how am I supposed to interpret it? Those are drivers. And the drivers allow us to plug in something and work. Back in the day in Windows 95, there was something that came out called plug and play. Plug and play allowed us to plug in something, or actually I guess it was called hot swappable plug and play. And hot swappable meant you can have it plugged in or plug it in while the computer's running, which was nuts. To plug in something while the computer's on was a death. You could never unplug a keyboard when the computer was on a PS2 connection or any of those kind of stuff because you would kill the keyboard controller because there's 140 signals a second going to the keyboard, and you pull that out, sever that connection, could blow the keyboard controller. It was one of those things that you just don't do. And then USB came out, and all of a sudden you're plugging in keyboards with it on and stuff. You're plugging in all sorts of things with the thing on. It was magical. So drivers, getting back to it, drivers are important and very picky. And with Windows 10 and Windows 11, we have kind of forgotten how picky drivers are because Windows 10 has almost mastered the fact that you can install drivers. When I would use, again, here's another war story. Oh, get the war stories out. When I was installing Windows 7 in my shop a couple years ago, you would, and on a spinning hard drives before solid state drives existed, you would have one day for the operating system to install just to get the data onto it and to get everything comprised and to get you into an operating system desktop. The next day was spent just doing updates. Just doing updates. That's it. Just doing updates. After that, and then after the full next day was done with updates, on the third day, you would do all the drivers, if you could remember, if you could get them through. The drivers would come through, and you'd have to do all that kind of stuff. Is on one or two? On to. Okay, excellent. So with the drivers, and that now one of the main things you have to deal with is graphics cards, and drivers that have to do with graphics cards and graphic cards with drivers can be a pain, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But we do have a caller on line 2, so let's see what's going on out there in the real world. It's line 1 out in the real world. Hello, you're on with the Computer Man. How can I help you?
Well, this is kind of off topic, but it has something to do with AI.
Okay.
I've been reading about these what they're called intelligent plasma clouds. They're called the Korolev clouds.
Okay.
Between Earth and the Moon, and they were only discovered 20 years ago.
I've heard of that. I've seen a couple articles on that. Yeah.
Okay, good. That'll save me a lot of time. There's a fellow that wrote a book called The New Science of Heaven. His name's Robert Temple.
Okay.
And he theorizes, he postulates that these are actually intelligent plasma beings. They're non-human, like AI, and they actually are kind of alive in a way. And there's other articles, including Space Magazine and a few other places, where they're now talking about these could possibly be sentient, these clouds.
Yeah, I read about it was something about the way that the charge of the clouds somehow like they suck the plasma out of the surrounding they're
self-organizing, they're
yes,
self-actuating, and there's a lot of I don't know.
And they're similar to DNA, right? There was a DNA aspect to it.
Yeah, and they have all kinds of layers inside and boundaries. There's just like a cell, a normal cell in the human body or something. There's all these mimicking or looks like organic features, but they're not, organic. They're inorganic.
Yeah, I've read a little bit. It's way outside my scope, but man, how cool is that though, right? Like the to have that come back and have it be into some type of like a lattice work, kind of like how AI works, or to have that maybe even a self-organizing fact where it will and when we talk about AI and we talk about machine learning and we talk about different form factors of machine learning and AI and how they pull together those lattice works and build that structure to get the answer out, to create a cohesive or coherent response, and something like that where it automatically engages or automatically forms into either a lattice work or a shape without any other things besides just the outside charges and the electrons and just the natural nature of it all. It's incredibly fascinating, and of course, just sitting there in between here and the moon, like just in the upper, it's beyond the upper atmosphere. I don't remember exactly where it was.
It's like some neutral spot between the moon and the Earth.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, let me take you a step further on this. There's a crowd of people, a small crowd in the so-called UFO community that speculate that these clouds have actually been around for millions of years and that they are possibly responsible for a lot of the so-called UFO sightings, because the UFO sightings are plasma fields that they're now discovering, not craft.
Interesting. Okay.
So to take it now a third step farther, and even smaller crowd of people that are interested in AI and possibly plasma beings, right? There's a history on Earth of sightings of plasma beings around geomagnetic hotspots on the planet. Or UFOs also. That's where a lot of the sightings happen, where the Earth has a geomagnetic, emission or hotspot. Mount Zion, a lot of the famous mountains around the world that were religious have this characteristic.
Interesting, kind of like almost a like a Northern Lights type of a phenomenon where there's a discharge.
Okay, so taking this a step further, this one fellow, he wrote a book called The Origin of Gods, claims that a lot of the communication, quote, with the gods or with UFOs have happened at these hotspots over the millennia with mankind. Has a history of this, whether it's North America or Middle East or wherever. And this fellow that wrote the book called New Science of Heaven, he goes a step further, and he even goes as far as to come up with an idea called AI transduction, which means that these plasma beings can enter into an AI network and basically dominate it, just like they were doing the geomagnetic hotspots, because it's electronic. It's electrons and protons. It's very possible that they could inhabit the network of an AI.
And when we talk about electrons and protons, when they're talking about even just uncertainty principles and stuff, a lot of our computer principles work on that same thing. Like RAM. RAM is literally like an unpassable membrane that we throw electrons at, and we hope by probability principles that the electrons show up on the other side of the membrane. And most times they do, but sometimes they don't, which gives us quirks and different things that are happening in the machine. So, we get new sensors every day. We get new equipment every day. We get new science every day, and the things, we don't know anything about dark matter, dark energy, and I'm sure we're going to discover all sorts of things that are literally right under our noses, maybe even passing through our noses, that could have incredible discoveries that right around the corner with us that have been literally just sitting here the whole time, as soon as we can detect it.
Okay,
so
now I'll put the final cap on it. The United States has 4.2 million people that have security clearances, and there's only 1.5 million people that regularly work for the government.
Okay.
A lot of these are contractors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of the most guarded projects is communicating with these plasma beings.
Interesting. Okay.
So, if these plasma beings have the possibility of communicating, let's say, hypothetically, and if they have the ability to communicate through AI networks to be recognized, okay, there's a thing. Then we have an interesting situation on the planet. We have a non-human intelligence possibly working with black projects. And the AI on the AI networks to develop them.
Interesting. And with all this stuff being pretty new, it'd be interesting to see how that would move forward and how it would change the things.
25 years at least.
Sure. Sure. We're just getting into the
they kept it
mainstream.
under wraps. By the time it comes out in the public, it's old stuff for what they're working on in development.
Yeah, like cloud computing's been around for 30 years, but the public has just started using it, about 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, there's a fellow that runs a site called Conjecture, I think, .dev over in England, and he's an AI guy. And he said what the real state of the AI is not being told to the public at all.
Wow, that is crazy, man.
Anyway, just thought I'd throw it out there for speculation purposes.
Appreciate you, dude. Awesome. Thank you for calling. Thank you thank you for listening. Appreciate you. Thank you for supporting KSQD. I hope you have a great night. All right, take care. Phone line's open for you here at 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. And you can leave, our phone lines are open at 900-5773, or you can jump online to ksqd.org and check us out there as well. Okay, so let's see. And no question, too big, too small. We're going to be on the air here for we got about another 5 minutes or so. Let's see. So we were talking about graphics card drivers and stuff like that and how strange crashing things. And, and a lot of times with drivers, the same thing. We get that weird connectivity where things don't pass forward properly, they don't pass through properly. But this person said that they've had a graphics card driver that have been crashing. They said that last year their GTX 1080 was constantly crashing, blue screens, etc. I couldn't do a thing to fix it, but they put their old GPU in and the crashes went away completely. Bought a brand new card to fix it, and it worked like a dream until after Christmas. Since then, it's been freezing every now and again, been black screening sometimes once a week, get a few times a day freezing. But the temporary fix was to go into safe mode, and to reinstall the GPU driver. Okay, so you had two separate cards having exactly the same issues, okay? Tried multiple driver versions and it still crashes. Today I decided to try the 970 again, and it's still crashing with a completely different GPU. So now the third card that was working is also crashing, so that's not the card then. Okay, it's worth noting that the PC is only ever crashed with the GPU drivers are installed and not before. I feel like this could be significant. Could it be the power supply potentially? Okay, so I would ask, first of all, you're plugging into the main board, right? You're not plugging in any type of risers or any of that kind of stuff. You have main power going into it from your power supply. Your power supply is at least 750 watts. And one of the first questions that when I ask that, they're like, oh, I do have a riser. I'm like, okay, is the riser fully connected? Because a lot of people plug in these risers and it's 128 pins and they don't snap them down, and one of the pins isn't set correctly, and that's not going to translate because the riser literally translates 128 pins to the next set. So they check. The riser was not fully connected to the motherboard's PCIe slot. Must have wiggled loose, they said, causing the GPU to disconnect randomly. As the crashes were getting more frequent, they can only put that down to the connection being even more loose later on. Okay, so again, always check your connections. My first networking company was called Level 1 Networking. Level 1 in the 7-layer burrito of the internet is a connection. So my company was basically a dig saying, hey, have you plugged it in, right? Level 1. Okay. All right, let's move to the next one here in the next few minutes until we check out of here and into somebody else coming on in to see the big Bobby BB in the night. We've got, let's see, ever since I updated my RAM at Best Buy, I've periodically got a memory management BSOD. Interesting. I very rarely see memory management blue screens, but they exist. Best Buy's Geek Squad said nothing's wrong, but today it has gotten worse, and every time I try to boot it up, it immediately goes to the memory management BSOD error and reboots. Not sure what to do. Okay, first of all, I'll take it back to Best Buy and go like, what'd you guys do? And basically not leave until they either fixed it or they've reinstalled something or their hardware's been replaced or whatever it was. I don't know if you brought the parts to them or if you bought the parts there, but I would take it back to them and make sure that your machine is back the way that it was before you gave it to them, if anything. But if you were exchanging your RAM, were they replaced? Was it exactly the same brand, same sizes, same sticks, same design? Was it the same series? You have the same brand, but it could be like a year later, that series. Because I would try different brands. A lot of times I will find that one brand will work, one brand won't. And there's no rhyme or reason sometimes when they do. That's why they've made these giant websites saying what's compatible and what's not. Sometimes one motherboard RAM combination will work great, and I take that exact same combination, put it into another machine. It will not work. It just does not work. And that's the magic of building your own computer. That's why a lot of people buy pre-built computers, because everything is already plugged in, ready to rock and roll. So, but I would try also reseating the RAM. And I see that you have 4 sticks of RAM. That's a lot. Why don't we just minimize it down to 1, and then we can start there. If you have 1 stick of RAM, you can get it to load, and then plug it in 2, and then plug it up to 3, plug it back up to 4, and go from that. A lot of other suggestions, but we're actually out of time. So this has been another Computer Man Show. If I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. Remember to tune into the Computer Man Show Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, Sandy Stone, Harold Feldstein, Richard Dibbin, David Kibbert, John Sandage, all Santa Cruz, Nikola Tesla, the Woz, Mr. Gaster, Torvalds, and of course, the humble Electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I'm your Computer Man here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid, 90.7 FM, and KSQD.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.